The US has now completely lost the export of soybeans to China.
Estimates show that China's retaliatory tariffs could cost American soybean farmers roughly $5.9 billion in lost revenue.
America's farms are in crisis, and the numbers aren't just bad, they're historic. In June 2025, U.S. soybean exports to China hit zero. Not a slowdown, a shutdown. Why? Because of China's sweeping 34% retaliatory tariff on all U.S. goods, still firmly in place. The fallout? Catastrophic. Shipments of soybeans and pork to China have plunged by over 97%. The lifeline that once powered Midwestern prosperity has been cut off. And now soybean futures? They've dropped to just $10.67 per bushel, an 8% slide in a single month, nearly half the price from just 2 years ago. How did we get here? And more importantly, how do we recover? Across America's heartland, from Iowa to Illinois, grain silos are full, but order books are empty. Communities built around the China trade are facing a brutal reckoning. Once Beijing's hunger for soy kept these towns alive, now those same farmers are being told, find new buyers or shut down. Is this a temporary slowdown? No, it's a rupture, one that could be fatal for thousands of farms already struggling with thin margins. Because when your biggest market walks away and your closest allies start hesitating, what happens next? Let's rewind. In April 2025, Beijing responded to Washington's new tariffs, some reaching 125% on Chinese goods, with a blanket 34% tariff on all U.S. exports. And that wasn't all. Export licenses were revoked, food inspections stalled, customs delays stretched for days. American soy, pork, dairy, once reliable staples, became diplomatic casualties. Not banned, but buried under red tape, political risk, and fees no serious importer wants to touch. U.S. farmers didn't just lose a customer, they lost credibility, predictability, access. And while D.C. ramps up its rhetoric, every block shipment becomes more than a financial loss. It's a symbol of a trade war that didn't end. It just metastasized. Across the Midwest, the silence is deafening. Silos are full. Bank accounts are empty. Futures are frozen. For a brief moment, there was hope. In 2024, Mexico stepped up. Minnesota's soybean exports there soared 36%. Economists called it a pivot toward resilience, a miracle corridor under USMCA. But by early 2025, that miracle was fading. Exports to Mexico fell 16%. Canada dropped 3%. Not because of demand, but because of fear. Fear of new tariffs, fear of policy whiplash, fear of another diplomatic fallout. So here's the question. If China is out and Mexico and Canada are pulling back, who's left to buy? In a powerful congressional testimony, American Soybean Association President Caleb Ragland didn't hold back. We are asking the administration to suspend all tariffs on Canada and Mexico, he said. These aren't just trading partners, they're survival routes. Because while beans sit in storage, farmers are paying grain fees, pest control costs, and losing quality by the day. Spoilage isn't a maybe, it's a math problem. $1 million harvest can rot into $1 million debt. Yes, Mexico became the largest foreign buyer of U.S. farm goods in 2024, over $31.4 billion in food, feed, and agriculture. But that trust, it's fragile. By March 2025, new U.S. tariff threats on Mexican steel and dairy sent shockwaves through the supply chain. Buyers hit pause, contracts dried up, and trust, once earned, is now eroding. Add to that the biotechnology dispute. Mexico's proposed ban on genetically modified corn ignited a fresh trade war. Even though imports continued, domestic planting bans signaled deeper cultural resistance. Canada's no safer. Disagreements over GMO labeling and biotech regulation are heating up. Tariff threats on unrelated sectors like lumber and dairy are pushing Ottawa to rethink its openness. So again, can America afford to lose not just China, but its two closest allies? Mexico and Canada now account for over 16% of all U.S. Asia exports. They buy consistently, pay quickly, and don't politicize food. In trust, they've replaced China. But in scale, Beijing still rules. China imports more soybeans than any country, over 100 million metric tons a year. And as of now, 70% of those come from Brazil. Why? Because U.S. soybeans entering China in 2025 face up to 114% in total tariffs, retaliatory duties, baseline tariffs, technical surcharges. That's not competition. That's exclusion. In Brazil, they're winning. Their soy isn't necessarily better, but it's cheaper, faster, frictionless. Their ports are moving. Their contracts are signed. Their relationship with China, growing. Meanwhile, American farmers are watching futures crash. Prices below $9 per bushel could trigger a wave of bankruptcies. Diesel, seed, and fertilizer prices remain high. There's no cushion left. Let's be clear. Mexico and Canada can't replace China in volume, and they're showing signs of strain. Even whispers of new tariffs are enough to pause deals. So now we ask again, if Washington doesn't back off, will even our allies stick around? Food used to be America's soft power. We fed allies. We brokered peace. We stabilized regions. But in 2025, the ships are sailing elsewhere. Brazil has taken the stage, and they're not looking back. Even Japan and Europe are diversifying. They're eyeing suppliers with less risk, less politics, less volatility. Because it's not just about selling food, it's about being counted on to deliver. And right now, that's no longer America. So here's the final urgent question. Can U.S. trade policy pivot fast enough to save its farmers before even its allies give up? Because soybeans aren't just crops anymore. They're bargaining chips, and America's farmers are all in on a game they might not survive. If you found this video insightful, don't let the story stop here. Like this video to help spread the word. Share it with anyone who cares about American agriculture. And subscribe for more deep dives into the forces reshaping our economy, markets, and future. Let's ask the hard questions and demand real answers. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered.